Welcome to this explainer. Finding out you're expecting a child brings this immediate, overwhelming rush of emotion, right? It's beautiful, it's totally life-changing, and let's just be entirely honest, it is also incredibly stressful. So today, we're going to map out exactly how expecting mothers in the US can uncover thousands of dollars in hidden financial benefits before their baby even arrives. If you're currently trying to navigate the really complex, often overwhelming world of American maternity leave, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down the strategies, the hidden funds, and the protections available to you so we can turn that financial anxiety into total empowerment.
Think about the sheer amount of time we spend prepping for a baby. We spend countless hours meticulously researching the absolute safest car seats, comparing the structural integrity of a dozen different cribs, and arguing over the perfect shade of yellow for the nursery walls. But honestly, almost nobody tells you about the money side of pregnancy. The actual financial planning required to navigate having a child is just entirely ignored in all those pregnancy books. Well, we're fixing that right now. Because if you don't know the exact questions to ask or the specific forms to file, there's a very good chance you're leaving serious, life-changing money on the table without even realizing it. Okay, let's start with a reality check that is frankly staggering. The United States is actually one of the only developed nations in the entire world with absolutely zero federal laws requiring paid maternity leave. None. If that fact just made your chest tighten up with stress, your feelings are completely valid. It's a really tough reality that leaves so many families incredibly vulnerable, basically forcing them to cobble together vacation days or return to work way before they're physically healed. But hey, we are not going to dwell on the negative. We're pivoting right now into the solutions. Because while the federal government might not just hand you a universal paid leave check, there are specialized strategies you can use to protect your income and fund your leave. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the maternity leave reality, the short-term disability secret, tax credits you might be missing, negotiating your medical bills, and free government programs. Let's dive in. Section 1, the maternity leave reality and navigating federal versus state protections. Let's break down exactly what protections actually exist, starting right at the federal level. You've probably heard the term FMLA, which stands for the Family and Medical Leave Act. Let's explain this really simply. FMLA is just a federal law that says if you work for a company with 50 or more employees, they have to let you take 12 weeks off, and they cannot give your job away to someone else while you're gone. That's what job protected actually means. They can't fire you. But here's the catch. They don't have to pay you a single dime during those 12 weeks. It is entirely unpaid. However, depending on where you live, the story changes drastically. If you happen to live in one of 13 specific states, places like California, New York, Washington, or New Jersey, you have state-paid family leave laws working for you. Moving just one state over could literally mean the difference between zero income and receiving up to 90% of your normal salary while you're home bonding with your baby. Which brings us to a super quick but absolutely vital action step. I need you to Google your state's name plus the phrase paid family leave and the current year. Why the year? Because state legislation regarding paid leave changes so rapidly. States are constantly updating their payout percentages and duration limits, so if you just do a general search, you might end up with outdated advice from 5 years ago. Finding out exactly what you qualify for locally right now is totally paramount. This one simple 5-second search could literally unlock thousands of dollars to keep your family afloat. Section 2, the short-term disability secret and how stacking benefits maximizes your leave. So if you don't live in a state with paid leave, here's the secret strategy: stacking your benefits. If your employer happens to offer short-term disability coverage, pregnancy and childbirth almost universally qualify as a medical event. This means you can file a claim to get 50 to 70% of your salary paid to you for 6 to 8 weeks right after delivery while you're physically healing. But the real magic here is the timeline. Imagine taking those 6 to 8 weeks of partially paid disability to recover, and the very moment that ends, boom, you trigger your 12 weeks of unpaid, job-protected FMLA. By stacking these two benefits consecutively rather than running them at the exact same time, you're building a bridge. This is exactly how some families manage to stretch their time at home, taking 4 to 5 months off in total, while ensuring a steady stream of income covers those super crucial first couple of months. To make this work, though, you absolutely have to be your own advocate. Call your HR department this week and ask 2 really direct questions. Do we offer short-term disability? And does it cover pregnancy? Seriously, do not just assume HR is going to hand this information to you in a neat little welcome packet. HR departments are incredibly busy, and getting disability pay requires specific third-party paperwork filled out by your doctor. You have to initiate the process. So ask the questions, get the answers on the record, and get that paperwork started early. Moving on to Section 3, tax credits you're missing. Yes, the IRS can actually help fund your first year. Believe it or not, the government actually does want to help you fund your baby's first year, but they do it through the tax code. There are 3 distinct benefits you really need to discuss with your tax professional. First up is the highly valuable child tax credit, worth up to $2,000 per child. And a huge chunk of this, up to $1,700, is fully refundable. Let me explain what refundable means in plain English. Even if your calculated tax bill for the year is mathematically zero, the IRS will still cut you a check for that $1,700 and put it straight in the mail. Next is the Child and Dependent Care Credit, which lets you claim up to 35% of your daycare costs if you're paying for care so you can go back to work. And finally, the Dependent Care FSA. Think of an FSA like a special bucket of money you're legally allowed to hide from the IRS. You can drop up to $5,000 of your paycheck into this bucket before taxes are even taken out, and use it exclusively to pay for childcare. That is thousands of dollars completely shielded from income tax. So, when you put all 3 of those together, a family utilizing these tax benefits could easily save $3,000 to $7,000 in their baby's first year alone. I mean, think about what that number actually represents. That's an entire year's worth of diapers, hundreds of cans of formula, that really high-end stroller you've been eyeing, and then some. That is real, tangible money staying right in your bank account, just by making sure you check a few different boxes on your tax return. Section 4, negotiating your medical bills, or how to take the power back from the hospital. All right, let's talk about this single biggest financial surprise of having a baby in America, the hospital bill. Even if you have fantastic premium health insurance, $2,500 to $5,000 is the average out-of-pocket cost you're going to be expected to pay for a standard, uncomplicated vaginal delivery. And if you need a C-section, yeah, prepare for that number to double. Just imagine receiving a medical bill that costs as much as buying a reliable used car. Hand it to you while you're completely sleep-deprived and just trying to bond with a newborn. It really highlights the absolute absurdity of the American healthcare system.
But listen to me. Here's the critical part. You do not have to just blindly pay whatever terrifying number is printed on that invoice. Step 1 is to immediately request an itemized line-by-line bill. Hospitals code things incorrectly all the time. In fact, it's wild, but studies show up to 80% of hospital bills contain expensive accidental mistakes. Step 2, ask the billing department directly about financial assistance. Step 3 is where you use your leverage. Offer a lump sum settlement. Let me explain why hospitals will actually negotiate with you. Hospitals know that if you can't pay, they eventually have to sell your debt to a collection agency, and that agency might only pay the hospital 10 cents for every dollar you owe. That's a massive loss for them. So if you call them up and say, hey, I can't pay $5,000, but I can put $2,500 on my credit card right now today to settle the account entirely, they are highly motivated to take that deal. You have immense leverage here.
And our final stop, Section 5, free government programs and expanding your safety net. We really need to dismantle this middle-class myth surrounding government assistance. Countless expecting parents completely ignore programs like WIC, Medicaid, and SNAP because they falsely assume these safety nets are strictly for people living in extreme poverty. That is just simply not true. Look at WIC, for example. In many states, a family of 3 earning up to $50,000 a year fully qualifies to get free, healthy food and ridiculously expensive baby formula. Earning $50,000 means you are a normal, hardworking family. Your tax dollars fund these exact programs, so they're there for you when you experience a major life transition like having a child. Plus, if your household income temporarily drops because you're taking unpaid FMLA leave, Medicaid might actually step in to cover your lingering medical bills. Go to benefits.gov today. Seriously, do not let your pride stop you from claiming the resources you're totally entitled to. We have covered an incredible amount of ground today, so let's quickly synthesize this into a concrete financial defense strategy. First, look up your state's paid leave policy right now to see what local laws protect you. Second, call your HR department to get the ball rolling on short-term disability paperwork. Third, verify exactly how the child tax credit is going to impact your specific tax return. And fourth, if you have already delivered, do not pay a single cent until you request that itemized hospital bill. These 4 specific actions are the absolute foundation of your financial defense. Pregnancy is undeniably expensive. There's just no getting around it. But by taking the actions we've walked through in this explainer, you are practically building a fortress around your family's finances. You do not have to be a victim of a confusing healthcare or employment system. The maternity leave system in America might not naturally look out for you, but the real question is, now that you possess the ultimate financial playbook, how much of your own money are you going to reclaim? Go make those calls, ask those tough questions, and take total control of your maternity leave today.